All right, we're getting ready to tee off here at Wildlife Prairie Park. I'd done a video, I think, last year out here, but it was all the short tees. We've got the Junior and Masters World Championships out here starting next week. And so they're going to be playing this course, and they're going to be playing kind of a mixed layout, a lot of the longer tees. So I thought I'd kind of run through those and show you, and it's going to be an interesting round. I haven't played in about a week and a half, so I'm a little sore, a little rusty. The wind's about 10 miles an hour, a little gust of 15, so that should make it interesting. It rained a lot recently, so I think there's going to be some muddy spots. If you've ever played out here, holes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all, I won't say open, but all pretty flat out here, at least mostly in the open region. But then hole 6 through the next like 8 holes, it's all down in kind of a mess. You got stinging nettles, you got bugs, it's sketchy footing, so we will see how it goes. No guarantees I get really good footage, but hopefully you guys enjoy the tougher layout. Don't expect a good round. Hole 1, 765 foot par 4. They recently added this new tee, lengthened the hole by about 150 feet from the previous long. This is just a hard hole. You got to go around these 2 field goal trees in the middle. What I didn't realize when I was throwing this drive, as you see, I put some turn on it and it just dumped. I probably only went around 250. There was a huge headwind, so I did not expect that. I adjusted a little bit here on my second shot, so I used the same disc, which is my Plasma Octane. And so not only is it a headwind, it's a head crosswind, so it's going right to left, which I think my drive, when I flipped it or forced it turn over, the wind just caught the bottom of the flight plate and turned it over. That one I absolutely crushed. That was probably 350 at least, maybe not. Maybe even a little bit further, 360, 370. So it left me about 120, 130 maybe into the pin. And it does slant slightly left to right, but this is just an easy little putter shot. And I left it a little short, which I don't mind, because behind the basket it does drop down just a little bit. Could go into the woods, and I definitely did not want that to happen. And that left me with a 15-footer, which should be no problem, even with the slight wind there. All right, par on hole 1. Hole 2. This one is a 630-foot par 4. Again, this is lengthened. They have the same tee pad, but they took the basket from a year and a half ago and moved it back another 100, 150 feet. So this one, and I made a mistake here. I didn't think about the wind. So the wind on hole 1 was a head crosswind. This one is running right back towards the tee. So knowing that means this is a left to right tailwind. And so I put same disc, same Plasma Octane on what I thought was going to be a good turn. But again, the wind and the tailwind behind me, it did not do what I needed to do. I still got some pretty good distance on it, but it finished way further right. I did not get the flex out of it that I'd wanted. And here I just completely misjudged. So again, that wind, now on this shot I realize that I have a pretty straight path through these trees. I just need to throw a straight shot and let it hyzer back. Unfortunately, this was bad form. I kind of got this one nose up a little bit. That's when I did it. It just stalled out. If I got that a little flatter, a little less nose up, I think that would have carried, but left me quite a bit short here. And the tree was right in the way, so I just came up and laid it up and took my 4. I mean, that tree, which is about 8 to 10 feet short maybe of the basket, was just right in the path. I didn't want to risk hitting that, so I just threw it up there, got my par, get out. I was hoping to get at least one birdie out of that. Hole 1's really not doable, but hole 2, I probably should have, based on where my drive was, I probably should have gotten a better look for birdie on that one. Hole 3, there are short and long tees on every hole out here. This one is from the short, 283 feet. You want to throw right hand, backhand, nice easy hyzer. And left is jail. You do not want to be left, so you got to be careful how much hyzer you put on this. And you also wanted to get it a little higher because it does have to penetrate down into the woods a little bit, because it goes into the woods, but then the last probably 30 feet, it kind of slides uphill. So if you leave it too low, which unfortunately when I threw this one, pretty good drive and good line and everything. It was just a little bit too low. And I had a good feeling once I walked up it was going to be short, and it did. So I don't know if you can notice there where it does go back up towards the pin. But again, I wasn't left, so I got a putt here, and you can see the trees kind of blowing around a little bit. It is, even down in this little cove, the wind is blowing. I really wasn't adjusting for the wind very well today. And these first 5, I guess you could say 6 because the tee shot on hole 6, but basically the first 5 holes I just didn't really do a good job on that. And of course, just outside circle 1, and then I missed the first one. And you'll notice that this is a practice round, so I am throwing 2, but I always count my first one. So even though I hit that second one, I'm most definitely not counting that as a birdie. So just got to clean it up a little bit. And we start off par, par, par. I would have liked to have been at least 1 or 2 under on that, but it is what it is. Hole 4 is one I am not going for birdie. It plays a lot longer than it looks. 393 feet, but the end is just really, really, really tricky. So my goal here is to get it into the edge of the woods or a little before. And here I disc down. I'm actually throwing a neutron trace, and this one is a little bit flippy. And so I just wanted to throw that flat, leave myself in the middle. And you'll see when we get up to the basket why this hole is so difficult. Not only is it 390, which is a little out of my range, it drops down. So right there, I threw pretty quickly on this one. You can see it drops down. There's a little goalie there. That was my Electron Envy. And you don't see it here, but just before the basket, probably 10, 15 feet is like a 10-foot goalie. So you don't want to be short. This, I would love to see people that can throw 400 plus. What do they throw on this? I don't know if they throw fairway drivers, but it would be a very, very difficult birdie. So I definitely am playing for par. So that's 4 pars in a row, which leads us to hole 5. This is one I really, really, really want to get. I love this hole, probably from the longs, although I'm not throwing from the longs. This is probably one of my top 3 favorite holes on this course. So it plays pretty short. So what you're trying to do here is throw an easy hyzer, and you do not want to be short left. Those woods on the left there are just absolute jail, but you also don't want to be way, way right. So that drive was perfect. Got around the corner, but then finished left. And this is only 456 feet, but it's all about this second shot here. You've got a small little gap, probably 15 feet wide. Once you hit that gap, it goes uphill about 10 feet. And then once you go uphill, the basket is sitting on a little plateau that's probably a 20 by 20 square. And this approach was right and short, and that is not at all where I wanted to. But if you just gun it up there and try to get it through the gap and up top, you can go long, and it's bad, bad, bad. So the idea is you want to hit it on that hill, have it slide up, or throw something pretty soft. That was actually my prime verdict. And I think that shot would have worked if I would have had that 10 feet to the left. It just was too far to the right and got caught in the woods there. And so I did have right around a circle's edge putt here. The footing was awkward, and I just hit the basket. Just didn't work for me. So I'm a little disappointed of all the holes in the first 5. This is the one I really wanted to get, especially where I was on the drive. I really feel like I could have got that. So you see here, it's kind of a nice little area. If you go where it says next hole there, it is a big, big, big drop off. And you'll see that on the next hole, which is hole 6. Par 3, 259 feet, plays like 160. So the basket's right there. The long tee is right here, and it is completely blind. And so this goes really quickly. You're going to miss it if you don't pay attention. I'm going to throw a turnover spike, and it's really hard to see because it's light blue, and it hit the gap, but it turned way, way, way too far over. And so now this is the path you have to take to get down to where it is. I'd say this is probably easily a 50, 60 foot drop, if not more. Not good judge at elevations, at least not in this regard. So the path here, you have to kind of wind your way down. Here's the short tee, which in and of itself is a very tricky shot. From right here, I do a jump putt. In fact, I don't even really jump. I do a standstill putt, and it gets all the way down there, but you can see the creek down there. Like, there's the basket. I'd say it's probably 35 feet down back behind the basket before you get to the creek. But if it goes down there, it's gone. I mean, that creek, I don't even want to venture in that. If it doesn't rain, you can see in there because it's only about a foot deep, but that is not happening right now. On casual rounds, non-tournaments, which again, we have Worlds coming up, they usually have a net back there to catch discs, but they most definitely do not have that up. So the Wildlife Prairie Park people do a fantastic job of adding things to this course. They've added tons of stairs, make things safer on these holes. And my disc, as I am wandering down these, is somewhere to the right. I played this one for 3, and there it is down there. So I most definitely did not try to birdie this one, because if I do that, I will bring the water in play, and that is not what I want to do. So I left myself about, I'm probably borderline circle 2, and so I almost fell when I putted that, and that one missed. But yeah, I'd say I'm probably 50 to 60 feet right at the far edges of circle 2. So it's a run, and I hit basket there on my second shot. But I am perfectly fine with a par on this one, even though that is now 6 pars in a row. Again, I don't want to dwell on them, but I really wanted to get hole 2 I could have gotten, hole 3, and hole 5. And that leads us to hole 7, 457 foot par 4. And this is a common theme where these distances are deceiving. You are not going to get a 2 on this one. This is just a very, very, very challenging hole. So the tee shot, you want to go, so we're going back uphill 20 to 30 feet, maybe about 20. And you want to finish it hard right to give yourself a look at the basket. So quick update, we are in hole 7. And it is super humid out here today. I'm really having trouble with my grip. I just did a really good drive on tee shot for hole 7. It's up here somewhere. I haven't walked through. I'm sitting in the short tee, just taking a quick breather. Not used to the elevation change out here. As I said before, holes 6, and then 7, 8, 9, and then 9. There's a big hill you gotta walk up to get to the basket. Just taking a breather, a lot of shape. A lot of pars, not a lot of birdies so far, but we're not making any huge mistakes. So just got to keep it in the fairway. But yeah, just the humidity is starting to get to me a little bit. I've got a towel, but it's definitely a challenge keeping my hands dry. So we'll walk up here and see if we can find our disc on hole 7. So we're walking over the short tee for hole 7. And you can see that is where you were back down that hill for the long tee. And this is such a tricky hole because as you come up here, the hillside slopes down from left to right. So high left, low right. And if you hit a tree and go right, I mean, it is way, 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 way down the hill there. And so we found the black disc here. This is that was a perfect tee shot as far as placement through the first trees, but right now I'm now stuck behind these 3 trees, and the only shot I have here is to throw my M4, so my mid-range turnover, and I'm just trying to hit the gap, and I just put a little too much juice on it, and it hits that tree right there and just drops down. So it ricocheted left, but you can see what happens there if it missed that tree. Even that M4, I kind of needed it to finish a little left. So here you definitely don't want to go right because it does slope down quite a bit. So I'm going to throw my Electron Envy, just kind of ease it out there. And even that one almost went a little bit too far. I was kind of wanting to ease that up there, but went about 20, not quite 25, about 20 feet past. So just not a difficult putt, but just not the kind of tester you want for par. And through 7 holes, all pars. All right, this is the long walk from hole 7's basket there. And then from the longs is the longest hole in the course. But we are not going to the longs. I'll show you here in a second once we get to the, I guess you can call it the fairway. So the longs are way up there. You're throwing to a landing area that's about 450 feet from the tee. And then once you hit that landing area down there, you take a left turn, not 90 degrees, but
definitely more than just a gentle left, and then it's another 500 plus. So the hole is right around 1,000 feet. I forget the exact distance on it. Maybe it's 950, 980, 1,000, 1,020, something like that. Very challenging. They've cleared out a ton of the stuff down here, though. I mean, people at Wildlife Prairie Park have done an amazing job. You can see the tracks down here. When this grows in, it's easily, I'd say waist deep stinging nettles. If you don't know what stinging nettles are, please look them up. They're awful. If they even brush your skin, it itches and burns for a good half hour, 45 minutes, unless you rinse it off. All right, so there's up there, landing, and then up here. And this is the short tee. So hole 8 from the shorts, exactly 500, plays a little bit longer. You have to throw basically the straightest shot you can. And then even if you throw that, you're going to be throwing a tough hyzer, although not a long hyzer. But it does need to cut pretty hard at the very end left. And the basket's up a little hill. You'll see when we get down here. So my choice here was a plasma catalyst. I threw a forehand. It was a really, really, really good shot. It just clipped one of those trees at the very end. So if it missed that tree on the left, it would have skipped into the fairway and given me a better look. So right here, the distance is not bad. It's about 200 maybe. And I'm actually throwing my Octane, which is my most overstable driver, because I want to throw this way, 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 way up in the air and have it crash down. Because if you throw it straight, it's just not going to get far enough left. And I did not throw that anywhere near as high as I needed to. I wanted to go almost up to the top of that second tree there, just to the left and middle. And so it clipped a few branches, dropped down, and gave me a putt just outside circle 1. I'd say probably about 35 feet, but it is uphill. And a little bit of rollaway potential. And I'm not too upset with a par in this hole because it is somewhat challenging. And unfortunately on this putt, I just didn't really give it a run. It missed a little right and a little low, but even if it was straight, it was kind of like that. I don't think it had enough height to get there. So I got to tap in, and now we are 8 holes in and par on every hole. Not bad, but definitely wanted to get at least 1 or 2 of those prior to some of the trickier holes on the back. Hole 9 is probably, I want to say it's the only hole I haven't birdied on this course. Just a tricky, so you're basically playing about 250. So right here I'm throwing a Lucid Felon, and I'm just laying up to the bottom of the hill there. To get a birdie, the basket is probably 50 feet up a hill. So right here, I threw a pretty good shot. I don't know if there's a way to get it up there other than blind luck. And I actually went a little too far, so I was stuck with a forehand. I'm actually forehanding a Prodigy M4. It's fairly understable, so I can kind of flick it. It does have a nice glide to it. So flick it around the corner there, and that was literally under the basket. So I've found no way to get it up on that hill. You have to have 400 feet of power on a forehand and throw it high and somehow get through with the low ceiling. I think that's the hardest birdie on the course, which is followed up by hole 10, which is one of the easier holes. And actually we're playing the short pin, which is under 200 feet. And this shot right here is actually not my main drive. I thought I hit the record button, but I did not. That was actually a pretty good one. So it landed right there. My first drive was with a Lucid EMAC Truth. I'm about 20 to 25 feet uphill, and first birdie of the day. There we go. So I decided to throw that second one just to show you guys the line, but I didn't record it. They pretty much landed in almost the exact same place. See there, I almost fell. It was just good to get that first birdie out of the way. And then we follow up one of the easier holes on the course with hole 11, which I don't even go for. So hole 10 there was actually up on a little plateau, and it drops off a little behind it down to this area, which this is a little to the right, where the long tee for hole 11 is. This is about 390, and there's water all to the right, so I just kind of bailed out to the left. I don't really have the power to get 390 backhand. Forehand is not there. And even if you did, there's a chance that you're in the green area and you hit one of those trees and it bounces back in the water. This is not quite where I wanted to be. That was my prime verdict. Not my beat-in one, but a pretty good one. And I just had to throw a forehand up shot. And that's all I was playing for in this hole. I just don't trust. I kind of would have liked my layup to be a little further up the fairway so I didn't have to do a turnover forehand shot. But
all right, mid-round update. We're walking the quarter plus mile to hole 12. Pretty average round so far. I didn't get my first birdie till hole 10. I think that's the only birdie. The rest are all pars. Hole 11 there, you guys saw me. I just kind of laid up. It's 360 to the basket, but you got a lot of trees there. I didn't feel like throwing anything in the water. Overall, not bad. As I said in the earlier clip, the humidity is sky high right now. So some of my discs, the grip is a little sketchy, but we're managing. Not excelling, but we're managing. The next two holes, hole 12 and 13. 12's tricky, low ceiling, but I think I can deuce it. And then 13 is over water. As long as I keep it safe, I can probably deuce that one too. From there on out, though, I'm just aiming for pars. Because 14's a tough par 3. Actually, no, I'm sorry. 14's also a deuceable one. It's 15. So 16, 17, 18 are hard, basically. So if I can get at least one or two of the next 3 holes, I'll be happy. All right, here we are.
So I misspoke there. 12 is a low ceiling shot, deuceable, but easy to get knocked down. 13 and 14. 13's a gimme hole, like you really got to get it, and then 14 is the water shot. So this one, I'm playing a driver. I don't need it to get there because it's only a little under 300. But you see, it's kind of hard to see with the camera angle, but the fairway goes up a little bit, but then you've got some tree branches hanging down, so there's a very low ceiling, and that was decent. That was high out of the hand, though, and it hit those overhanging branches and just dropped right in the middle of the fairway and left me right about here, just inside circle 2. I'd say put it about 50, 55 here. And I'm going to run it. I definitely don't want to get a 4 on this one. So I'm going to run it, but not super hard. And that one, decent power. I just left it a little to the left. Not too disappointed that I didn't get that one, but it'd have been nice to go birdie on 12, 13, 14, but par's okay on this one. But now that kind of, it's kind of hard when you're mid-round. You apply a little bit of pressure to yourself. So now going into 13, 14, I'm really feeling the pressure. At least I want to birdie both 13 and 14. So 13 is, I want to say, a gimme hole if you've got a forehand. So the forehand gap is up to the left. If you do not have a forehand, there is a backhand route, but it is a little bit harder because the basket sits on a tiny little hill that drops off like 6, 7, 8 feet. And so it's really easy to leave yourself a 25-foot putt, but you're putting 6 feet uphill. So here you see it's just a nice, easy little flick. It's under 200. There's a nice little plateau area there. I suppose you could do a turnover shot. Now, this is probably the worst spot I could have landed. I didn't have a straddle putt left. I didn't have a straddle putt right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to putt it between those 2 trees. And I apologize, I kind of blocked it here, but that was right there. That is the only path I had. And I had to put it on a little bit of hyzer. I just got it. And to show you how tight it is, I putted the second one and it hit one of the trees. So I did get the birdie, and that is 2 under. Hole 14 is a water carry, and it presents a few challenges that don't necessarily show up on the camera. So number one, it is a water carry. The hole's 261. I think it plays a little closer to 280, so I'm actually throwing my EMAC truth here. The second thing is it is slightly uphill, so I think it plays a little bit longer. And the third is the wind becomes a factor. There was actually a decent 10 to 12 mile per hour headwind on that one, which is why I threw my truth. My truth is usually pretty straight, but we'll finish a little left. And it did flip it over for me, but I was able to get a pretty good shot there, and we were now 3 under. All right, hole 15. From here on out, I'm just looking for pars. So hole 15 is annoying. So I'm throwing my Catalyst It's 345. I think it plays a little longer. It's low ceiling. Not only is it low ceiling, you've also got the middle of the fairway, so about halfway down it goes up and then goes back down. So right there I just threw my spike and getting the 3 and getting out of there. But that's a hard. I think it plays closer to 360 and narrow. If you go left or right, you're done. I mean, there's just no way you're getting out of that. Hole 16, if there was probably a hole that Wildlife is known for from the longest, either this hole or hole 18. So I don't even know how to describe this one. I mean, I could show you on camera. I actually had a group caught up to me and two groups in front of me. It's probably 250. It's not long, so it's probably 250 straight ahead. There's a gap to the right and a gap to the left. You can see the short tee pad down there. I am throwing a forehand lucid felon, and I put a lot of juice on that, and it turns. And I just wanted to slam into the side of the hill there. If you look at this hole, if you ever play this course, there's just no easy path.
Good luck, guys.
And even with my near perfect drive, you cannot see it, but I am tucked way over there on the left. I had to throw up over the crest of the hill. I don't know if you could even see. I'll do the replay again. I threw a forehand spike, so my putter, up over the hill just to get it to turn. I mean, the footing is always going to be awful. This is a really, really, really good 3 to get. And it landed right there by a little stump that's probably 12 feet away from the basket and left me with a pretty easy putt. And I was starting to wear down a little bit because you can tell I wasn't making... So being a practice round, I was putting twice. I was making the first one, but missing a lot of the second putts. So here... I'm really focused, nailed it. And then the second one, I did that. And that one actually rolled all the way down the hill, probably 35 feet away. All right, and then hole 17, I don't have the juice to get this one. So it's mid 400s, 445. It is slightly uphill. Again, low ceiling, common theme. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to throw a forehand and just get 320 out there, and I threw it in the ground. I just didn't give it enough height. So now I'm way back here, and you need to go another probably 180 to 200 feet down, and I'm throwing, that was a Lucid X Felon, and even with that was a pretty good shot, and look where I am. So you have to land it here, but then it goes uphill 10, 12 feet, and I was not having any part of that. I just laid it up there for par. I didn't want to hit the basket and roll down the hill. That's a tough hole. I think even if I threw a perfect 350-foot drive, I'd still have a tricky approach.
I'm exhausted. Sitting here on the tee for 18. You can see it. Beautiful shot. Through a gap down in an open field. I mean, I don't think I'll ever get a 4 on this one. It says 680, but you got to play it out there and play another power drive just to get to an opening that's way up ahead, and then another 100, 120 in. So yeah, I'm exhausted. Shooting okay. I think I'm bogey free, and I'm either 3 under or 4 under. I'll have to check the scorecard, but better than I thought I was going to throw. I definitely lost some strokes out there, but I'm not totally upset with it. And if you get to end on a hole like this, I mean, you can't really complain. So I got a group of 2 ahead of me, so whenever they're done, I will tee off and they will get this round complete.
So hole 18, 663 feet. You need a bomb off the tee, and then there is an OB road lining the entire right side. You can see it goes from bottom right to upper left out in the fairway there. And then there's a tight window with a lot of heavy woods on the left that you want to get around to the right, and then to a reasonably protected green, but not too bad. So this one I slowed down a little bit. That is my plasma catalyst, and that's one of my best drives of the day, backhand. That was easily 360, 370. Now it is downhill, so that kind of made a difference here. Now, one of the things I missed was I didn't realize the OB line. I thought it was the long grass to the right. It's actually just to the left of the road there. So you see the little tracks there. I didn't realize I was 5 feet from OB. In fact, I didn't even realize on my upshot here. I thought I had all that room to work with. So you'll see right here, that's my plasma octane. I played that way, way, way right. I probably would have played a different shot if I had paid attention to the out of bounds. And it left me a very easy upshot here. This is just my spike. I mean, that's 130 feet in, and I thought it was going to go in. It left me with a tap in for par, which is honestly I don't think I can get anything better than that on this hole. It's too long.
And we're going to walk this one in, finish it off with a good par. Oh, it's about as good as I can shoot on that hole, so solid round. No complaints. Might have to come out and check the World Championship groups that are playing out here. And there it is. Almost went in. Instead, we are... And that's all she wrote. So I believe that finishes off. And I didn't check since last hole. I want to say it's a 4 under. No bogeys. That is saying something out here. Yeah, I was able to fight the humidity, but I definitely had to switch to a couple discs on my drives. Man, you know what I never noticed is the OB line is on this side of the road. I was thinking it was the tall grass over there. That very easily could have been out of bounds on that last hole. So, no, I had to switch a couple discs up for grip purposes, or I may have wanted to use another one, but no, pretty solid. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. So this is the layout that I believe the Masters Division MA40 is playing, and I think all the juniors. So Junior World Championships will be decided on that course. So hopefully you enjoyed. I'll post the scorecard after this and let you guys see that, but enjoy. And once all the World Championship stuff is done, I will try to do a round out at Northwood Black Longs. So have a good one. I'll see you guys next round.